The hip-hop world has officially crossed into a dangerous point of no return, and the explosive digital war zone erupting across the internet right now has left the entire music industry in a state of absolute, unmitigated horror. What you're about to witness is not a calculated publicity stunt, a staged internet meme, or a scene from a Hollywood movie. This is the raw, cold-blooded, and terrifyingly personal execution of a father's 25-year musical legacy, systematically masterminded and weaponized by his fiercest rival. Just hours away from the official global midnight drop of T.I.'s highly anticipated final retirement masterpiece, Kill the King, the entire multi-million-dollar rollout has been reduced to absolute ashes. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has allegedly breached the highest levels of corporate security, leaking the entire unreleased tracklist to the public. Grand Hustle's empire is facing total financial liquidation. An elite security grid has completely collapsed from the inside, and a broken king is preparing for a midnight face-to-face confrontation that will alter the rap map forever. Do not blink, do not pause, and do not turn away, because we are breaking down every single second of the most dangerous betrayal hip-hop has ever seen. To truly understand the cataclysmic scale of what just transpired on the digital pavements of Atlanta, we have to peel back over 2 decades of intense hip-hop history, calculated power struggles, and a fragile street code that has just been blown to absolute pieces. Clifford Harris, universally known to the global masses as T.I., has spent 25 years engineering a legacy that defined the modern era of Southern hip-hop. Emerging from the brutal, unforgiving street corners of West Atlanta, he didn't just survive the trap, he corporate packaged it, transformed it into a global export, and proudly crowned himself the undisputed king of the South. He built Grand Hustle into a multi-million-dollar kingdom, transitioned seamlessly into a Hollywood asset, and sold the world an aspirational, family-friendly reality television brand. T.I. wanted his final chapter in the music industry to be an unassailable monument of dignity. He meticulously designed his 12th and final studio album, Kill the King, to mark a clean, magnificent exit from the rap game that would immortalize his name on his own pristine terms. He believed his legacy was bulletproof, insulated by decades of chart-topping hits and massive corporate alliances. What he completely failed to realize was that in the brutal, hyper-competitive jungle of the hip-hop elite, declaring your own retirement while holding on to a crown is nothing less than an open invitation for an absolute cold-blooded assassination. In this unforgiving digital landscape, a veteran icon's retirement album is a high-stakes, life-or-death gamble. It is the single piece of intellectual property that either solidifies your permanent historical legacy or completely bankrupts your multi-million-dollar catalog if the first week numbers fall flat on their face. Behind the closed doors of the Grand Hustle headquarters, the pressure to deliver an earthquake-level buzz to break through the modern noise was mounting to a literal breaking point. T.I. needed something monumental, a physical and digital declaration of his supreme status that would force the global streaming giants to pay attention. Enter Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, the undisputed godfather of digital psychological warfare and systemic reputational destruction. 50 Cent does not operate by the traditional rules of rap battles. He does not waste his time stepping into a recording booth to trade vintage street poetry or intricate syllable patterns. Instead, 50 Cent operates on a terrifying doctrine of total structural demolition. He targets his rivals' finances, their household stability, their corporate sponsorships, and their psychological core until there is nothing left but a broken spirit and a ruined brand. The bad blood between these two titans is not a new phenomenon. It has been simmering in a dark, toxic ocean of unresolved competitive malice since the mid-2000s, back when both men were fighting for absolute dominance over the global culture. The competitive friction violently reignited in early 2026 when T.I., during a highly publicized promotional run, publicly summoned 50 Cent for a historic battle, confidently claiming that the New York mogul was ducking the smoke and lacked the musical catalog to stand on an arena stage with the King of the South. To T.I., it was a standard industry challenge designed to create temporary internet engagement. To 50 Cent, it was an explicit declaration of war. By naming his final retirement project Kill the King, T.I. unknowingly handed his greatest rival the exact psychological script needed to dismantle his entire life. 50 Cent didn't just want to win a musical debate. He wanted to ensure that the King of the South's final rollout wasn't a celebration, but a public execution that would leave his legacy entirely in ruins. This toxic dynamic was a ticking time bomb waiting for the ultimate catalyst to detonate into an all-out war for total cultural survival. T.I. genuinely believed his lyrical sharpness and his hometown street credibility would protect his kingdom from an outside invasion. He thought that by dropping elite bars, he could force a traditional retreat. But he was playing checkers against a ruthless master who specializes in burning the entire board down to the ground. The definitive flashpoint that shattered Clifford Harris's world did not happen on a public stage, behind the safety of a radio microphone, or during a carefully managed press conference. It happened in the absolute dead of night, at exactly 1:15 a.m. on an untraceable, encrypted G-Unit affiliate server, completely bypassing the heavy digital firewalls of Grand Hustle Records. The entire global music infrastructure was locked in anticipation for the June 26th midnight drop, with major platforms preparing their massive promotional banners and counting down the seconds. But what transpired next has been described by deep industry insiders as a chilling, flawless masterclass in tactical psychological warfare. A series of high-definition, fully mastered audio files suddenly populated an anonymous landing page. Within seconds, prominent internet data miners realized they weren't looking at snippets, or low-quality radio rips. It was the entire unreleased album, all 18 tracks, complete with high-fidelity mixing, unreleased guest features from A-list artists, and official label metadata. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson did not hide behind an anonymous leak link or use an offshore proxy to mask his involvement. Instead, he went directly onto his official social media channels, posting a cold, mocking video holding a digital flash drive labeled in raw permanent marker. He looked directly into the camera lens and uttered a single phrase that has now been burned into the memory of every hip-hop fan on Earth, stating that Atlanta is a beautiful city, but a king who cannot even protect his own data is just a target. He added that the rollout is officially canceled and told Cliff to keep crying. The financial and psychological damage was instantaneous. Millions of users began aggressively downloading the leaked tracks, re-uploading them to tech servers, and circulating them via encrypted group chats. The intellectual property that major distribution platforms had spent months securing was suddenly being handed out to the global public for free, hours before T.I. could collect a single streaming penny from pre-saves or official streams. Inside T.I.'s private estate in the elite hills of Buckhead, the atmosphere was described by close associates as a scene of pure, chaotic horror. Phones were ringing on absolute silent vibration, multi-million-dollar executives were sweating through their custom suits, and T.I. himself was reportedly pacing his study in a state of blinding, uncontainable fury. His adult sons immediately launched a chaotic, defensive counteroffensive on their personal live streams, aggressively screaming into their phone cameras, issuing street-level ultimatums, and demanding retribution against anyone associated with the G-Unit camp. Look at these fake Twitter threads and leaked text messages that surfaced immediately after the footage went viral. One leaked text message allegedly intercepted from a prominent Atlanta producer closely allied with the Harris family reads that Tip is losing his mind right now, putting his elite security grid on high alert and tracking digital markers to an undisclosed location because this isn't a conversation anymore. It is about to go completely left. The tech teams at Grand Hustle launched an immediate, desperate internal audit to trace the exact source of the leak, assuming an elite external hacking group had breached their corporate cloud storage. They expected to find an IP address originating from a cybercriminal syndicate in Eastern Europe or a high-level digital infiltration masterminded from New York City. The rooms were filled with shouting, desks were cleared, and the pressure to find an answer before the mainstream media picked up the story was suffocating. But that is exactly where the first jaw-dropping, mind-bending twist lands, completely dropping the floor out from under this entire controversy and turning it from a standard rap beef into a terrifying corporate thriller. When the forensic digital researchers traced the network origin of the master file extraction, they did not find a security breach from an outside network. The highly classified digital logs revealed that the master files were accessed using a unique biometric digital signature that belonged to an administrative account deeply embedded inside the financial infrastructure of Grand Hustle Records itself. Someone on TI's payroll, someone with high-level access to the company's inner operational network, had intentionally handed the unreleased audio files directly to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. This was not an emotional outburst or a simple case of a hacker sneaking into a studio. It was a highly organized internal execution designed to ruin the King of the South from within his own castle. The rollout was thoroughly compromised, and the ultimate threat was not outside the gates. The Gattery had been fully authorized from deep within the corporate structure of TI's own label, leaving the entire kingdom vulnerable to complete financial liquidation just hours before the global drop, raising the terrifying question of who exactly opened the vault to destroy the king. The viral firestorm surrounding the midnight leak completely paralyzed the global internet infrastructure, causing major social media servers to glitch and freeze as millions of frantic hip-hop fans scrambled to witness the unprecedented fallout. By 4 a.m., the footage of 50 Cent's digital execution and the leaked audio files had generated a staggering number of impressions, completely breaking the algorithms on every major streaming and communication network. Across X, formerly known as Twitter, a digital shockwave tore through the rap ecosystem, generating over 5 million individual posts in less than 12 hours, as verified industry insiders and prominent platform commentators began frantic live broadcasts to dissect the unfolding catastrophe. Underground forums and urban culture blogs were thrown into an unhinged state of severe hysteria, with leaked screenshots from exclusive industry group chats painting a picture of pure corporate panic. One intercepted text message, allegedly originating from a prominent Atlanta music executive allied with Grand Hustle, flatly stated that the situation was entirely out of control, that legal injunctions were useless against thousands of mirror proxy servers, and that the financial foundation of the entire empire was cracking in real time. As the digital landscape bled raw emotion, the industry backlash escalated from a localized rap feud into a full-scale corporate crisis. Media mastermind DJ Academics went live to an emergency audience of over 150,000 concurrent viewers, frantically screaming into his microphone that this was the most dangerous financial hit the Southern rap scene had witnessed in decades. He warned his audience that corporate assets were freezing, public monuments of a legacy were being defaced, and that real-world corporate warfare had infiltrated the camp. Moments later, the legendary Rick Ross dropped a chilling warning during an intense early morning radio interview in Atlanta, stating that when you start talking about structural blockades, stolen digital clearings, and an independent empire getting turned into a public circus, the entire temperature of the game changes completely. Ross emphasized that this was no longer standard entertainment, but an organized execution with permanent, devastating consequences for everyone involved. But while the public frantically debated the celebrity reactions, a secondary, completely unexpected corporate bombshell dropped that fundamentally altered the gravity of this war. High-level corporate intelligence leaked highly classified legal correspondence from deep within the music industry's banking corridors, dropping the floor out from under TI's legal defense teams. The intercepted documents revealed that just weeks prior to this massive security breach, TI had finalized negotiations for an unprecedented $30 million master distribution and catalog acquisition contract with a global technology and streaming conglomerate. This massive financial lifeline was supposed to fund his permanent retirement and guarantee the long-term future of the entire Grand Hustle legacy. However, the corporate tech investors had inserted a terrifyingly aggressive security and brand liability clause into the legal paperwork. The exact millisecond the footage of 50 Cent claiming credit for the leak went viral alongside the words "uncontained security breach," the conglomerate's board of directors immediately activated an emergency morality protocol. They froze TI's advanced distribution funding, locked his corporate asset accounts, and threatened to permanently liquidate the entire $30 million contract within 48 hours if the internal threat could not be identified and neutralized. The immediate financial paralysis sent shockwaves straight to the heart of the album's creative circle. Out of pure, unadulterated terror of being associated with a toxic, radioactive rollout, multiple prominent A-list artists who were locked in as confirmed guest features on the tracklist began privately instructing their legal teams to issue emergency cease and desist orders. They demanded their verses be scrubbed from any future official release before the entire corporate ship sank to the bottom of the ocean. Production houses froze their master beats, public relations firms issued total media blackouts, and the entire marketing syndication for T.I.'s final masterpiece degenerated into an absolute hazard zone that no major brand dared to touch. Just as the war rooms were trying to figure out how to stop the catastrophic bleeding, a chilling new weapon emerged from the dark web that has left the entire industry shivering in fear. A prominent cybersecurity group noticed that a mysterious encrypted landing page had suddenly appeared on a primary G-Unit affiliate server containing no promotional text or formal press releases, only a pitch-black background, a high-definition image of a shattered gold crown dripping with symbolic blood, and a digital countdown timer relentlessly ticking away the seconds in real time toward the fast-approaching release hour. Rumors are now exploding through underground networks that this countdown is directly linked to an automated cyberleak protocol, raising a bone-chilling question that has the entire culture paralyzed with anticipation. What exactly did the internal traitor steal from T.I.'s private servers to hand over to 50 Cent's psychological blitzkrieg team? And what happens to the rap game the exact millisecond that blood-red clock hits absolute zero? The immediate shockwave following the leak of T.I.'s final album transformed the internet into an unhinged arena of ideological warfare. Every major urban community forum, hip-hop subreddit, and mainstream media comment section fractured instantly, collapsing under the pure weight of raw public emotion. An absolute cultural civil war has broken out online, pitting multi-generational street purists against an unyielding new army of modern digital outlaws. On one side of this vicious divide stands the total mobilization of the grand hustle loyalists, screaming for total retribution under the banner of #TeamTip. They are flooding timelines with legendary records, aggressively arguing that by leaking an entire retirement project just hours before its official release, 50 Cent did not just win a rap feud, he committed a demonic, unforgivable crime against the very soul of hip-hop culture. A top-voted comment from a prominent urban culture blog captured hundreds of thousands of interactions in a matter of minutes, stating that what Curtis Jackson pulled off isn't standard music industry competition anymore. It is a calculated, cold-blooded assassination of a veteran's lifelong work. To weaponize an internal security leak to freeze a $30 million contract and rob the King of the South of his final curtain call is pure corporate bullying at its absolute worst. Clifford Harris built the commercial platforms these modern tech giants are eating off today, and seeing him treated like a target in his own backyard is a tragedy that the South will never forget. These fiercely defensive traditionalists are demanding a permanent industry embargo on all of 50 Cent's future television and streaming projects, while calling for local Atlanta street elements to enforce a strict, physical ban to keep the G-Unit mogul from ever crossing into city limits. Conversely, a massive and completely unsympathetic digital army is striking back with absolute malice under the banner of #Team50. They are relentlessly weaponizing T.I.'s public vulnerability, turning the icon's own high-minded disciplinary lectures against him with unhinged sarcasm. A trending thread on Reddit exploded into severe hysteria, with supporters of the New York Titan claiming that y'all are out here crying for a man who spent 25 years calling himself an untouchable king. T.I. literally painted a bullseye on his own back by naming his retirement masterpiece Kill the King, and 50 Cent simply stepped onto the board and achieved checkmate on a master level. If you cannot survive the lawless, chaotic heat of the digital era, then take the crown off your head and step out of the jungle. The footage does not lie, the data has been cleared, and Clifford got entirely outsmarted inside his own kingdom. Meanwhile, prominent news outlets and celebrity circles are completely paralyzed, unsure of how to react to a fallout this radioactive. Leaked screenshots from private, invite-only artist group chats have surfaced on underground blogs, revealing pure panic among the album's remaining production teams. Major Southern radio syndicates have enacted a quiet, immediate blackout on all of T.I.'s music out of sheer terror that broadcasting his voice could incite physical violence outside their headquarters. Elite club promoters are rapidly canceling VIP tables for anyone affiliated with either entourage, entirely altering the nightlife landscape of Atlanta overnight. Look at your screens right now and ask yourself, has the music industry completely lost its moral soul, or is this just the ultimate evolution of absolute, unchecked corporate survival? The division is growing wider with every single second that passes, forcing everyone to pick a side in a war where the traditional rules of human decency no longer exist, leaving the global culture holding its breath because this isn't just entertainment anymore. It is a live-stream takedown where the ultimate price is absolute reputational extinction. If you believe that a frozen $30 million distribution contract, a totally compromised final rollout, and the devastating sound of an inner circle collapsing are the absolute peak of this psychological thriller, you are completely and utterly wrong. Prepare yourselves because we have just arrived at the absolute structural core of this war, a cataclysmic final twist that completely flips the script on who is actually controlling the narrative and leaves the entire hip-hop community permanently paralyzed with raw terror. As T.I.'s elite, high-powered legal team scrambled in a state of absolute midnight panic to file an emergency federal injunction in Georgia to seize the web domains hosting the viral leaks, a fatal administrative error occurred. A single unredacted page from the sealed federal court clerk's office was accidentally uploaded to a public database for less than 60 seconds. But 60 seconds was all it took for digital forensic researchers to capture a detail so deeply sinister it has sent a literal chill down the spine of every major artist in the global music industry. The federal injunction filed by Grand Hustle's lawyers wasn't just targeting Curtis 50 Cent Jackson or G-Unit Film and Television Networks. The primary individual named as the lead co-conspirator, the inside actor who physically leaked the master security codes and administrative bypass signatures from the corporate database, was none other than T.I.'s own 21-year-old son, King Harris. The sheer psychological horror of this family betrayal has left the entire music industry in a state of absolute grief and shock. The streets of Atlanta are quietly whispering about the terrifying motive behind this multi-layered execution. Insider intelligence has just confirmed that following his catastrophic felony arrest involving his custom-wrapped vehicle, the young aspiring artist felt completely abandoned by his father's public disciplinary stance and corporate defense priorities. Facing severe time in a state penitentiary, he was reportedly approached in total secrecy by high-level corporate fixers acting on behalf of 50 Cent's multi-billion-dollar streaming network. The deal they offered the young man was completely cold-blooded. In exchange for utilizing his high-level household administrative credentials to clear the digital security perimeters for 50 Cent's Midnight album Invasion, King Harris would receive an unmatchable independent recording contract with G-Unit Records alongside the most elite corporate defense attorneys in New York City to ensure his felony charges are completely wiped from his record. The son literally traded his father's lifetime legacy to buy his own freedom and secure a permanent seat at his father's worst enemy's table. But the drama does not end with this heartbreaking realization because the countdown timer ticking away on the G-Unit affiliate server is not a promotional gimmick for a docuseries. It is an automated cyberleak protocol. We have just received word from a highly placed network administrator that if that countdown clock hits absolute zero tonight before T.I. signs over 100% of the publishing rights of his final album to an offshore entity, a secondary, highly sensitive audio file will automatically publish across every global streaming server. This hidden file does not contain music. Rumors are exploding through underground networks that it contains secretly recorded, deeply private financial conversations from within the Grand Hustle estate that could trigger a massive structural investigation, threatening to dismantle the legacy forever. As we speak, heavily armed private tactical security teams have just been spotted setting up an absolute military-grade perimeter around a heavily fortified, undisclosed warehouse location on the dark outskirts of Atlanta. Deep industry insiders are reporting that an emergency, high-stakes midnight meeting has been called behind closed doors where T.I., 50 Cent, and King Harris are heading right now for a final face-to-face confrontation before the clock runs out. No cameras, no press, and no police mediation. Just a broken father staring into the treacherous eyes of his own son and a completely remorseless rival. If this meeting goes left, It won't just be the end of an album rollout. It will be a literal historical catastrophe that will alter the rap map forever. The red lights are flashing, the clock is running out, and a devastating truth is about to explode across the entire internet, leaving the future of the entire Southern rap dynasty completely unresolved. We need to hear your voice right now down in the comment section below. Did King Harris commit the ultimate family sin by trading his own father's 25-year legacy for his personal freedom, or is T.I. finally paying the price for his past corporate choices? Are you standing with the legendary king of the South under #TeamTip, or are you riding with the absolute ruthlessness of the digital godfather under #Team50? Flood the comment section with your theories right now because we are actively monitoring your responses this very second. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on all access notifications immediately so you do not miss our emergency live breakdown the absolute millisecond that blood red countdown timer hits 0 and the next chapter explodes online. Stay locked in and do not look away.